Hello there, welcome back to another show. Today I'm going to talk about films seen recently. Now the reason I'm doing this is just catching up in films that I've seen that I've not done videos on. But also, because we're pretty much in the summer now, because of the heat sometimes I don't watch as many films. So the channel will be a bit more sporadic over the next 2 months. Well, I'll try and watch films, but I know in the summer, if it's too warm, my brain does not go well with films. My concentration's not great, so I might have some weeks off where I won't be doing anything because it's like I haven't seen enough to talk about. So I thought I'd do a one just now, and I'll probably do one late in the summer as well as trying to do videos throughout, but it might be more random for a little bit, depending on the weather. Like last year the weather was terrible, so I saw stuff all the time, and the year before the weather was really warm, so I basically had a month or two where I wasn't seeing much. So it just depends on the weather, because I get headaches when it's really warm, so I'm doing this now, just in case. So yeah, these are films that I've seen. I'll make brief comments on, but they won't be full videos. But there is some really good stuff here, right? So I'll start off with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which is a new Mission Impossible one. Obviously, it's part of the final one until they reboot it, probably about 2 years. Because this film's done well, so there's no way this is the final Mission Impossible. It might be the final Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, who knows? Even then, you never know. It's one of those films that it costs so much because the film went into production before the pandemic started. Right. It was 2 films, a certain budget, and then pandemic happened. It got delayed. The films got delayed because of they had to shut down, and they restarted during the pandemic to keep filming, which are basically epic action movies. Then they had to close down for the writer's strike and the actor's strike, then come back and finish it off. So both films cost way more than they should have, because everything went wrong. It could have gone wrong, and that's just the way life goes sometimes. So the films, if the plan had worked what they'd gone for, these films would have been in profit, would have been fine. There would not have been a problem with anything, because they cost so much because of all these other things. Now, even though they made a lot of money, they're kind of like, are they going to make their money back? And it's like, well, who cares? It's not your money. All you want to do is enjoy it. So who knows if there's going to be another one. But I saw this twice. I really enjoyed this one. I like the Mission Impossibles. I think because the right mix of serious and silly. They know they're silly, but they're also serious enough to keep going. And the story, like, you're in this world for a certain amount of time, you follow this story logic, and it works. Now, it's another one by Chris McQuarrie, who did the last 4. He's done 4 now. And he did a lot of rewriting on number 4. So he's been in it for a while, and this is potentially his last one, the Mission Impossible at least, and he's out well. This one is like, if you watch like 60 spy movies like Ice Station Zebra and things, you can get a lot of fun out of this one. I mean, McQuarrie wanted to make Ice Station Zebra as a remake. I don't think it happened, but he managed to move it all into this film. And it's very much influenced by John Frankenheimer and all those films Frankenheimer was making in the 60s. So you've got like scenes of people getting information implanted into their eyeballs. You've got like crazy conspiracies about AI, which is very for John Frankenheimer, even though Frankenheimer made films before AI. You've got like 7 Days of May suggestion of the world's going to end with nuclear holocausts, and who knows if some of the generals are going to go mad before it happens to stop it happening. You've got all these weird conspiracies going around, and all these people having to do insane stuff to stop AI from destroying the world. So AI goes full Skynet here, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, the first section is a little slow. I mean, there was like some people really complaining about the first section in a way that's like, are you kidding? It wasn't that bad. It was just like, it was a lot of plot to get through to get to the point of where the action scenes happen. It was just like, it was because they had from Macquarie said they had a structure that didn't work, had to add other stuff to make it work. So the first section is a bit more bloated than it probably should be, but it's that thing of, if you're following the story, it's fine. If you're not into the story, you're probably thinking, why am I sitting through this? But some people have gone completely insane about complaining about it. It's like, there's still action scenes here, there's still suspense scenes here, there's still things going on. It's not like it's without information, without interest. I mean, I think it's a case of, it sort of happened with the Matrix sequels, where there's so much information coming at you as well as the action, it's probably a bit of an overload. Or, I'm bored, I just want the action. Why are you giving me all this other stuff? Well, I like this other stuff, so that's fine. But then when you get to the action really works, because the last 2/3 are essentially, we have to do this, to do that, to do this to stop the entity from destroying the world. So they have to go down to this nuclear submarine to get the code, the entity's code, the original code, so they can stop it. And of course, it all goes wrong as cruises in the nuclear submarine that's rolling towards a cliff. And he's well underwater for the pressure as well. So if you're a fan of The Abyss, this section's, delivers for you. And you've got a biplane stuff near the end as well, as the villain's trying to escape with the code. And Tom Cruise is trying to stop him on one of biplanes, so there's some crazy stunts there. There's some other stuff with in the Arctic Circle, where the Russians trying to fight the Americans, trying to get information about where the nuclear sub is actually hidden, which is very, very Ultimate Lane, very Ice Station Zebra. And there's just a lot of stuff going on that's fun. It's like, if you like these kind of films, it's fun. And it delivers, and essentially, the worst you can say is the first third's a little slow. There's still a lot going on there. You get a lot of payoffs, you get some nice moments throughout. It delivers. I went to see it twice. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what else to say. We didn't like it, so you didn't like it, but I did. So, there we go. Next, we have Sinners, which is the Ryan Coogler. I almost said Ryan Johnson there, and then I was like, not Frank Coogler. Too many Ryans in directing now. Even though their name's spelled differently, it's still. But yeah, it's his new one after Wakanda Forever. Now, I did not like Wakanda Forever at all. So this one I was going into with trepidation, because it was like, I really liked Creed. Black Panther I enjoyed, but I didn't think it was as amazing as some people thought it was. But I still enjoyed it. And then Wakanda Forever I really did not enjoy. I thought it was really slow. So I was like, going into this one thinking, God. The thing is, when you went to see a film by a director whose last film we feel kind of burned you a little bit, you're always a bit trepidatious. But this one's really good. I really enjoyed this one. It's a real return to form. All the characters are interesting. Michael B. Jordan plays twins, which is a really good trick, right? Because here's what he does. Essentially, the lead character is someone else. The lead character we're following through is a musician. So, with Michael B. Jordan's twins, basically is two good character parts supporting this guy who's not really an actor. So he manages to, Michael B. Jordan carries the film and keeps the main character on track. But he also gets two good supporting parts that are very showy parts, and he can show off what he can do. So he gets to dominate the film without having to lead the film. And there's a lot of other fun actors in here. You have some Ku Klux Klan members, obviously, because it's set in the 30s in the South. You've got some really good music. There's a really good sense of place about how people are sort of worn down in this area. Also, by having the villain be an Irish guy who came from, who was trying to vamp out in Ireland and he's come over to this country, and he's had to deal with the English, so he understands exactly what they're going through. So it creates an interesting thing with the villain is the villain, but he's not actually. He understands his victims pretty well, because they're not that much different from him. They really are not. The skin colour's a bit different, that's it, but the mentality, there's not much difference. And any of the vampires that follow him will have the same mentality as he does. So it's really well done. The first half is set up, the second half is a vampire movie, the Siege, very much from Dusk Till Dawn. But I like this one better, because it was, from Dusk Till Dawn is a lot of fun, but the second half is very cartoonish. And to its detriment, a little bit. I mean, it makes it fun, but I also think if it had been a little bit less cartoonish in certain moments or not excessively cartoonish. Like it seemed in Dusk Till Dawn, it was gag after gag after gag after gag after a more serious first half. In this one, there are jokes, but it's mixed with other stuff. A lot more clean, really. So it works better. It's been a big hit. I think it's because it didn't go excessive on the gags in the second half. It actually stuck to the drama while having a sense of humour. So it just really works. I can see why it's a big hit. It really delivers, and it's one of those films that just really work. And you're with the characters throughout. You like them. They're all flawed. They've all got problems. They've all made mistakes, and they're all susceptible to the vampires, because the vampires can offer them, peace in an era where their lives are living hell half the time. So it's a wonderfully enjoyable film. So I definitely recommend seeing that. Right, now with Phoenician Scheme, which is another terrific film. Wes Anderson. He did the same thing with Ryan Coogler for me. Was his last film I wasn't so keen on, which was Asteroid City. Now Asteroid City is better than Wakanda Forever, but it's still, for Wes Anderson, it was not a good film. Wes Anderson tends to make really good films, and every so often, like Darjeeling Limited, Asteroid City, every so often he kind of misses. And the good thing with him is, basically the one that follows the mist tends to be really good. Like, it's almost like he kind of recognises he's missed and just focuses. And this one's a perfect example of that. It's just a terrific film. It does not try and be a mainstream film. It's just its own thing, but it works. It's about basically a guy who's into all sorts of stuff, but Benicio del Toro, who's he keeps in a plane crash. He's got the American government after him. He's got various people he owes money to. He's trying to get a scheme put together to help this area. So he's basically trying to be a better person before ever admitting it. And he's got a daughter who is a nun, who's about to become a nun. And he brings her back to help him run the company. And Michael Cera is his tutor for the children. But obviously, he's got this weird accent which suggests he's not exactly who he says he is. And there's all sorts of weird stuff going on. It's very dry, it's very funny, it's very imaginative. Because around these various countries, dealing with lots of people and a lot of absurd situations. But in this one, everything works. The absurd situations are well worked out, and they always deliver more character detail, so you always feel you're getting more from them. Like, the trouble with Asteroid City is, you had moments where you had character detail where you get a lot from, and other times it felt like empty, like gestures. And that's why not everything really counts towards something. So, yeah, it's a wonderful film. I'd highly recommend it. Go see it. It's still in the cinema, just out. Now we have Warfare, which it was released a bit further back, but it's now on streaming now, so I'd highly recommend this one too. This is kind of a war movie from the point of view of Navy SEALs who go in to take over this house, and they're going to do some observing on people who are spying, who they think are terrorists. But they are spotted, and a jihad is brought down on their heads, basically, and basically as a firefight and have to get out of the area. Now, the interesting thing about this film is, even though the point of view is of the Marines, or not Marines, the Navy SEALs, you can see why people are mad at them. They take over this house, which is two families, one upstairs, one downstairs, with someone blocking in between. They're just people who are sleeping. And they take over the house for a day, and suddenly the house is getting blown to shit, essentially, for these, basically, these soldiers. To endanger the family, to observe something. And it's like, and they're in a foreign country, and why would the people not be mad at them for doing this? And essentially, you get the feeling is, the people trying to kill them are just sick of them. They just want rid of them. So like, just go away. So there's that element to the film. At the same time, the film is about their point of view of the Navy SEALs as what they do throughout the day, first day, as they're observing, and how boring it is, and how nothing really happens, but how everyone's keeping to their jobs, even throughout the tedium. And it's all about the sense of a day in the life of Navy SEALs, which is, lots of boring. Very different from the Charlie Sheen movie, which I covered recently. There's that, and then something the action happens. And the thing with this film is, it's not like Black Hawk Down where there's tons of action in the second half. It's like, there's a burst of action, and then there's the consequences of the action, and then there's a little bit more action, but it's really just a lot of shooting rather than actually anything exciting happening. It's just like people are shooting to stop other people from shooting back at them, and it's just basically covering fire. And even the action, a lot of it is you're just shooting at places and hoping you hit them. And also, the one bit of action where something happens is they shoot a rocket launcher or something at the Navy SEALs as they're leaving, which causes a havoc because they were trying to leave. So it's like, so it's about the kind of dark side of being in a country that don't want you there, how dangerous it is to be a soldier in that country, where you're following orders that are probably not politically very wise, but you've still got a job to do. So there's no villains in this thing. It's just basically what happens when this situation is set up and why things go wrong. Because nobody's particularly motivated to do anything horrible to the people in the Navy SEALs group. They're just doing a job, but they are in someone else's house, and they are basically making sure they're in a room. So you're thinking, this is not right. This is just not right. And then when they're getting killed, you still feel for them because people are getting damaged badly and they're suffering a lot of pain for something that's stupid, ultimately. And you're just seeing the warfare side without. There's politics implied in the situation, but there's nothing like defined. Which is what Alex Garland did also in Civil War, where he gets in trouble for this, where it's like, he's always got this thing of, you make up your own mind what you think about this. Like, I'm going to show you the situation, I'm going to show you how people react, then you make up your own mind. I'm not telling you what it means. Which I like, but some people get mad because he's not thumping the book for one side or the other. Because, I mean, this one, it's palpably obvious that the Americans are doing the wrong thing. But it's also palpably obvious that they don't need to get butchered by the other side. They can just be allowed to leave. And it's just like, this is war. War's stupid. And war's silly. And war has terrible consequences for bad decisions. That's what it is. But also, these people signed up to be soldiers. It's well acted by the cast. Everyone's been brought down to a level of seriousness. All the actors take their jobs seriously. You have a few names like Joseph Quinn and Will Poulter who you'll recognise. The rest of them are played by people you might know the faces. Everyone does a job, everyone's taking it seriously, and it works. It works really well. Now we have Thunderbolts, which is slightly different from that one. Thunderbolts, a new Marvel film. It's a lot of fun. That's the best way to describe it. It's a lot of fun, that's it. It's about a bunch of outcast superheroes. These are the people who are in some of the TV shows and some of the films that didn't work very well, and they've all been put in this group and asked. Basically, they've been hired by Julie Louis-Dreyfus to be her like assassins, and then she's now in trouble. She decides to get rid of them all in one fell swoop. They send them on an assignment to kill each other, and there's one building, so they all try to kill each other. And if they figure it out, the building's set to burn them anyway. So she's been thorough. So it's not working out well for them. But instead of killing each other, one of them gets killed. The rest actually join up to escape and then try to figure out what's going on and try and take down Julie Dreyfus. And it is essentially a kind of Dirty Dozen when there's only 4 or 5 of them. And one of them's played by Lewis Pullman, who's Bob, who's this turns into the Sentry when he gets set off, and basically he can become almost a god, but he's also a schizophrenic who's got lots of problems, lots of issues, and they have to deal with him. The Thunderbolts, who have none of them have superpowers. Only Bob has superpowers. They have no superpowers. A few of them are super soldiers like Bucky Barnes and the Red, whatever. If you've seen Black Widow, Black Widow's father, played by David Harbour's, the Red something. No one can remember what the name is, and I can't either now. And he's at Super Serum. So does John Walker, who's played by Wyatt Russell. He's got Super Serum. But that's the best I've got. The lead of the film is Florence Pugh's Yelena Bolivov or whatever. And she's hilarious in the film because she's basically a depressive who's a very good assassin. And she's Russian and she's just fed up with the world. And she's got such an attitude towards everybody that's hilarious. Especially when they put her with both David Harbour has her incompetent father who is all about glory and who's just doesn't see the consequences of his actions. And also she puts him with Wyatt Russell, who is everyone calls an asshole. Everybody. Because he is. Because he's had a bad time recently and he takes it out on other people. But he's funny because he plays it straight. And the character's funny, but he doesn't know he's funny a lot of the time. And Florence Pugh takes the piss out of him the whole time. It works beautifully. The villain from Ant-Man 2's in it as well. She's the ghost. She's also been an assassin. She joins the team, and she's much more like I've got to deal with these idiots, you know. So they're all slowly bond, and Bucky, who comes in later on to help them, and they're all kind of very flawed people, and that's the charm of it. The flawed people try to take down a god, and they're the only hope because they're the only people who knew the god while he's Bob. They're the only people who can actually reach him, and they have to go through the superpower stuff before they can reach him to try and help him. So it's about mental health, and it really works. It's like one of those films. It's obviously cheaper than the recent Marvel films, but like Deadpool movie recently, Deadpool Wolverine, it's not about spending a ton of money and things. It's much more about the character stuff. So if you're in looking for tons of action, you're going to be disappointed. But you're in looking for some fun character stuff, you're going to have fun with this one. It's not amazing, but it's really enjoyable. And it's so much better than that last Captain America movie, which had tons of money and didn't really do much with it. This one works a lot better. Okay, now we have Ballerina. Ballerina is the spin-off of John Wick. It takes place between 3 and 4, and basically it's about a female assassin played by Ana de Armas, who is, if you've seen John Wick 3, there's these ballerina assassins who work for the Russian mob, and she's one of them. So you find out she was in John Wick 3 in the background, and she saw some of the events of John Wick 3. Then when she goes out and becomes an assassin, because she's just a trainee at that point, she becomes an assassin, and then she finds out something about her past and has to go and hunt down her past and then deal with her crazy family who are part of this massive cult of, deranged people played by Gabriel Byrne. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. As you can guess from the plot description, it's not about the plot. The plot is very basic. It's, someone finds out about the past. There's a whole section at the beginning of the film, it's the worst part of the film, where you get the flashback basically before the film starts of what happened in the past. And you didn't need it, because you told it again throughout the film, and it's like, why did we need this? You don't need this. Because as soon as she starts training, goes and does on the job work, the film gets much better. But the first 20 minutes are a bit deadly, because they're not bad, but they're just mediocre, and you think, is this the whole film? And it's not. Now, Len Wiseman directed it. He's done some bad films. He did the Total Recall remake, and did some Underworld films, and did Die Hard 4. So it's not a good resume. But this is his best film, even though, according to a lot of rumours, it was reshot quite a bit by Chad Stahelski, who did the John Wick films. And it feels it. You feel like there's a tick up in action ability in the film as it goes on. Like, you feel that they've gone in and added stuff to make this work better. Because the action in the first section is kind of vague, and then it's much more specific to the action as they go on. Makes you feel that certain things were added to make it more effective. And it's a blast. I mean, as soon as she starts going after her once she goes on a mission and starts going after her family, it gets terrific. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. Some of the action scenes are really inventive. They're very brutal. The plot twists are obvious, but they're enjoyable. The actors are all having a good time, and they're all taking it seriously. We say we John Wick films are serious, but not. It's like they are basically Sergio Leone films. That same sense of heightened absurdity, but also you need some resonance to make it work. This film worked out. I don't know if they did it in reshoots or they did it first thing, but it works for what it needs to be. It still feels janky because it has been reshot. You do feel the repairs have been done in this film, but it doesn't matter, because when it works, it really works. So I don't know if it was a director who got better over the years, or he was helped a lot by other people. It depends what rumour you hear. I wasn't here, I don't know, but all I know is the film's a lot of fun. I'd happily rewatch it. There we go. Go see it. Now we're going to the films that are maybe not on the same level. I'd say all these films I've seen so far I really enjoyed. I thought they were wonderful. This next lot goes from the flawed but enjoyable to the not very good at all. Right. So Accountant 2 is the flawed but enjoyable one. One of the two flawed but enjoyable ones, where it's a sequel to The Accountant, which is also flawed but enjoyable. Stars Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, and it's about an accountant who's autistic but who's also trained in the military. So he ends up always getting into situations where he has to use his fighting skills. So he's autistic, but he's operational autistic. He's not like, he doesn't need to be separated from humanity or anything. He just has a hard time dealing with people. So he knows he's autistic, and so he's hard time, but he can, operate. And his brother's a hitman who also has some problems. And the best part of the film is those two actors riffing each other. They're having a lot of fun. They've got good chemistry. The characters work. You've got the autistic character who's very straight ahead, but who's also got a good network of family around him from the autism school he went to. So there's a lot of people he knows and trusts. So even though he doesn't have a traditional family, he's made his own family unit, really. And his brother, who is more obviously normal, as in he's not autistic, but he's actually more abnormal because he is nobody. I mean, his brother actually has people who care about him, who's managed to take his situation and make it more operational, who takes his knowledge of various criminal organisations and sends him over to the FBI. His brother is a killer for hire, who's obviously lonely and who is completely dysfunctional, and he always thinks he's the normal one. The whole film is he's thinking he's a normal one, and it's like his brother played with Ben Affleck is like, okay, you're the normal one, even though it's obvious to everybody that he's not the normal one. He's the abnormal one. And that's what gives it his life, his idea of the guy who thinks he's in tune with things is actually more whacked out than everyone else. And it's a whole story about people smuggling from Mexico, and that's a high up. It's a high. It's a business that makes a lot of money for people. Um, there's a tragic story about a family who came over to America and everything that happened to them, which ties into some of the action as well, and the backstory of one of the characters that we get introduced to. So it all works. It's very much like a over the top film. It knows it's operatic, but it's over the top in a way of like some of its revelations is much more like Italian 70s horror movie, like a Jolly than actually a normal American thriller, which I like because it's just or a weird Japanese 70s gangster movie. It seems more influenced by them than it is by normal American films, which I like a lot though because it's like when this film works, it really works, but it's too much stuff that it could have lost 20 minutes and be more efficient. It just has a lot of long girls that you don't need. But it's one of those ones, yeah, I'll happily rewatch it. You know, it's enjoyable. And there's some nice action scenes in it. It's not in the same level of Ballerina, though, or Mission Impossible for action. It doesn't have that kind of level of action. But it's probably on par with Thunderbolts. It also had fun action, but you're really into the characters. Next we have Predator Killer of Killers, which is another solid but fun movie. It's animated version of Predator. 3 stories of 3 people who killed predators over time, and they've been stored and basically you get the 3 stories of these people who, after they kill the predators, after they defeat the predators, which some do, some don't. Basically, it shows you 3 people who killed predators in their own little mini predator movies, and then what happens to them after they've killed the predators, how they're taken to this alien world and who have to fight for survival there as well. So you get 3 little stories. One takes place in Viking times, one takes place in Japan in the 17th century, and one takes place during the World War II in the plains. And they're all frozen and taken to the Predator world and placed out of time and placed against each other. And the last section is them having to learn to fight together to fight the predators. And it's very enjoyable. But it's not amazing. The things, what Predators do. The action's fun, but nothing's outstanding. It's well done, it's enjoyable. It's very much influenced by the animatrix stuff, really. Of let's take this popular stuff and let's give it to animators to do some interesting stuff with it. But it's still tied to the franchise. And the director of the last Predator film, Prey, directed this with someone else. Well, he's directing the live action Predator film, which came out in November, I think. So, he supervised it all. It's well done, but there's nothing new. It's just like, we get a samurai fighting Predator, or we get a Viking fighting a Predator, or we get a World War II dogfight fighting Predator. They're all fun things, but it's always like, the frustrating thing is, these are 3 Predator films you could have made that would have been much better as a Predator film. All 3 of them would have been better as actual feature-length films. It's the 3 ideas that have just burnt off that were better than half the Predator films that have actually been made. and they're too damn short because only 20 minutes each. And it's like, it gets frustrating. Oops. It gets frustrating because it's like, I'd like more of this world, those characters before we get to this. Everything's in a rush to get somewhere. So that's why it's kind of annoying in some places, but it's also enjoyable. It's just one of those films that just was like, I like it, but I wish they'd just use these ideas for the films. I have a feeling also that this thing sets up the next Predator film. Like, where they are going, I'm pretty sure you're going to see these characters in the next Predator film. Because it sets it up for what you've seen in the trailer of the next Predator film. So I'm guessing you're going to see these characters live action. But it's that kind of thing is like, especially the samurai one. Samurai one was the best of the 3. And that would have been a good film. It's like you've wasted it on 20 minutes. That would have been a good film. And the Viking one, I love Viking films too. It's like, yeah, that's another one you've kind of wasted the idea of. But there we go. Now we have a Working Man. Now we're the last 2. These are the 2 weakest ones I saw. Working Man, Jason Statham, starring, David Ayer directed. So basically, it's a team behind The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper was one of those nice surprises last year that was an absurd film, but it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. And they're going to do a sequel to it, which is good. Because, yeah, but this one, it was based on a script that Sylvester Stallone had written, and David Ayer rewrote it. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's the worst instincts of both David Ayer and Stallone, where there's too much macho posturing. The script itself is meandering between set pieces and things happening. So a lot of people have been macho to each other, and lots of dead scenes where they're setting something up that's not that important in the first place. Essentially, it's Jason Statham trying to find the daughter of one of his friends who is also his boss. He's a man of great skills from the past, and he has to go and save her because he promised his friend. He knows it means he has to go back into his old habits. So it's very much a Stallone idea. And David Ayer adds a lot of grunge to it. And some of the fights are good, and some of the action's good. But it's one of those things, we've been there before, and everyone's done better work, and it's like, it's meandering, and it's like, for every good scene, there's 2 or 3 bad scenes, and it's like, compared to The Beekeeper, which was absurd scene after absurd scene after absurd scene, but it was wonderfully absurd. This one is just like, it's just self-indulgent most of the time. It just doesn't really work. So I was disappointed in this one. It's watchable, but it's nothing much beyond that. The actress playing the girl kidnap's good, but it does feel like it's a Taken movie without Liam Neeson. I don't even like Taken movies that much. And then finally we have Mountainhead, based as a riff on Fountainhead idea. Because there's 4 guys who go to this place called Mountainhead, which is this big resort thing for the rich. Was a house, but it's basically been built as almost like this little castle for this guy who's got lots of money. And his 3 richer pals come to see him for a poker night, and they're all tech bros. And of course, there's stuff going on in the real world. This guy's new apps come out, and it's actually causing havoc, where people are using AI to suggest things happening that's not actually happening. So there's riots and things. So it's like, what's going to happen with this? Is he going to get brought in by the government? At the same time, he needs this technology that one of his friends, who's also at the place, has, and which will cure a lot of his problems that he can't solve himself. So he's trying to get his pal to sell it. But his pal knows basically that if he doesn't sell it, even though he's acting like a smug git to the guy saying you're immoral and I'm not, if he doesn't sell it, he knows his price will go up. And eventually they decide, the 3 guys, other guys in the house, realise that they all can make good if this guy gets the technology. So they decide to try and kill this other friend, but they're not very good at it. Now, this sounds much more interesting than the film actually is. It's a guy who did Succession. He also was involved with The Thick of It and things like that. Jesse Armstrong, who's a good writer, and it's like, why is this so boring? It's the situation set up as interesting, and you have a good actor like Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, and 2 other guys who have seen other stuff and have been good, but it doesn't work. And then you find out it was written and produced and directed within like 6 months. I mean, it was shot this year, it's already out, and it's like, that's why, because it's not been developed right. It's like, it just feels like a first draft. It feels like there's tons of stuff in there. There's some nice things in there, but there's also a lot of stuff that's self-indulgent and not very interesting, and it's like, it just feels unfinished, and it was like it was shot before it was ready. And that's just, film just has that meandering feeling. You're just going through these things, but nothing's been set up enough so you care what happens, and you're just sitting this thing fairly bored for most of it. And it's, some of the critics have been nice about it, but the audiences haven't been, because I think basically it's like, the people who have been nice about it, the critics, are trying to make themselves look smart because there's all these weird references in it that try to make them feel smart, but the drama itself doesn't work. It just doesn't. So it's not a starter. So yeah, I would avoid this one. It just is, it's so much worse than this idea. It's that thing, the idea was great, and if they'd actually developed it longer and may have got something good out of it, but it just feels meandering. Probably this video. So that's me done. Hope you enjoyed these. I'll be back soon with some more. Bye for now.